Hi, Liamog Nov here from the Does It Matter research program. This episode is a little bit different than the normal episodes in that it addresses an issue which actually might matter to some people as against some of the things that I think really matter in the other episodes. But this concerns a domestic water pump which, if it fails, as in my case, creates enormous nuisance difficulties over a period of time, and my journey in exploring the problem, sourcing a solution and implementing it and checking it out. So I hope this is of some benefit to some viewers. Here's some initial images of the Grundfos pump, and then followed by a cutaway showing the water movement in the pump, and then finally there's an exploded diagram here where I just zoom in and show you where the capacitor fits into the overall system. This is an example of the symptoms of the water problem I had. So when I turn off a tap in an upstairs facility, either hot or cold, you see there's very little water pressure. When the pressure drops, the pump should come on and deliver a good flow of water to here. Here's the offending pump, the water pressure pump. This is the inlet water here, dries out through this section here. Right, the pump switched off at the moment. It's a Grundfos MQ3. Right, I'm just going to switch it on. So this pump's not working, so we just need to see what's happening. So I hope you can hear the pickup there, that hum, which initially I just thought that the rotor was locked. But in fact, that's the hum that suggests it can't get going because the capacitor in the split phase motor is gone. So typically what would happen with this motor at the moment, it would just try to run for a certain period of time. So it's drawing a lot of starting current there at the moment, and it would then trip. There's an electronic trip on it. So I'm just going to switch that off to protect it. And then we're going to open it up and have a look and remove the capacitor. Okay, so now I'm just, as I remove these 4 screws here, 1, 2, 3, these 4, just unscrew those, and then I lift off this panel here, right? So just to point out, the capacitor that I'm going to remove is down here. This is the capacitor, and then we'll have a look at what the rating, etc. on it is. So I'll just screw off the various elements and then pick up the recording again. The next exercise, I need to unscrew this, as I've just done that there. Then you unscrew this at the earth connection. So what that does is it enables me to release this whole section here to expose the capacitor. So let's just see how. So the capacitor is exposed there, and we'll be able to remove it now. Right, so this capacitor is just held in there by a little black spring. So we just remove it there. To remove it, we just have to remove the different connections of the capacitor, just noting where they are. And so let's just examine the setting of the capacitor. So it's a 12.5 microfarad, 420 or 470 volts. So that's a typical capacitor, start run capacitor. Okay, just again noting the connections. The pink and the blue are common, and the white then is going to the other plate of the capacitor. Okay, I've now replaced the old capacitor with a new capacitor. I've just made the connections again. The pink and the blue connected to the one terminal and the white to the other terminal. I'll just leave it sitting outside the unit, and I'm going to switch it in and just see what happens. And immediately you can hear the motor, the pump running again. So compared to the first situation, the pump wasn't running.
it was just stalling because the capacitor wasn't operating, so I simply just replaced that capacitor. Now it's stopped now because it's come up to pressure. So you can see there, if there's a draw off inside the house, it immediately comes up. So I'll just reassemble the whole box again and test it once more. Once more, the capacitor is refitted in here, screws replaced, tied down, and all I need to do now is simply replace the main cover, and I'll just screw it into position. And then we'll run the motor again. Everything should be sealed up. Okay, so I've just screwed the whole pump back together. I'm going to switch it back on again, and again we should see the system working. See how quickly it clicked back in. So again, there's an imperceptible delay between the drop in pressure and the start of the motor. Now a direct kick in, whereas before I think that the original situation may have been there was a lightning strike here, a very severe lightning strike maybe 18 or 19 months ago here. I think that did initial damage to the capacitor, and it has been degrading ever since. It led to a long delay in the motor trying to start up, which originally was pulling out the circuit breaker and causing all sorts of nuisance problems. Anyway, that's the my experience of this Grundfos MQ3 pump and a capacitor failure. Hope it's a benefit to someone.
I'd like to make a note of thanks here to Paul Quinn from Grundfos Ireland, who was very helpful to me on the helpline in Grundfos, identifying the problem and also pointing out another problem which often happens is the float valve sometimes fails on these, and there's the contact details for Paul in Grundfos. Thanks for watching this episode of Does It Matter? An aberration from the norm, but again perhaps some practical useful benefit to some of you out there with water problems. At least those water problems. I can't help you with the other water problems. If you're interested, perhaps you might look at some of my more perhaps important Does It Matter videos. Thank you very much.